banana trees, philodendrons, lemongrass, and many other plants add to the charm of this sunken gully. And if you take a look on the right-hand side above the sunken gully, you will see four large royal palm trees standing tall. Now, anytime you saw a royal palm tree in our history, that was an indication that a plantation was somewhere nearby. Now, royal palm trees were also indicated as well, so the more royal palm trees you saw, the wealthier the plantation was. So imagine if you were enslaved here and you got free, and you were running, heading one direction, and you looked up and you saw a royal palm tree, you know to turn around and go the other way because the plantation was approaching. Now also ground passengers on the left-hand side, you will see a pathway, and this was your, that used to take the sugar cane from the fields to the mills to the grinders. So that was pathway known as the cart road. So passengers, we are now quickly approaching the bridge. If you want, you can stand, get your cameras out, come onto the balconies. We're about to go 40 feet above ground, heading 300 feet across. Now this is now the longest and tallest bridge now currently on the island, constructed entirely in various sections of galvanized steel and fabricated in the The foundation is 40 feet thick, with over 1,200 tons of reinforced concrete to resist earthquakes. So ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you now onto the Arctic Bridge. Now this bridge has been dedicated to Mr. Arthur Abbey. He was the first assignment at Barbados, an industrialist, naturalist, and pioneer in the field of forestry who loved St. Nicholas Abbey and in particular Cherry Tree Hill. Now he died last year in May, so the bridge has been dedicated to him. So it's now known as the Arthur Bridge. Now all these trees that are passing right next to these trees are known as mahogany trees. Now around this time of the year, the seeds will open up, drop, germinate, and replant itself. Now the rock who eventually settled in Barbados due to its coral reef, lack of dense marine forest, fertile soil, and abundance of clay and conch shells, used Cherry Tree Hill Avenue under the bridge for thousands of years as a pathway linking the east to the west of the island. Many artifacts we found up here are now on display within the Great House. So ladies and gentlemen, we now welcome you onto our extended line. We're going over an extra 2 kilometers of track, 100 acres of rolling hills, and to other passengers that this line only went live about to the island in the mid-1640s by the Dutch. The Draxall Plantation in St. George is the first ever plantation to plant sugarcane and the largest at 600 acres of property. So sugarcane takes about a year before it's ripe and ready to be harvested. Up here it takes us about 6 months because we still rely on cane cutters to help cut the canes for us. So we start our harvest in the month of January, where most plantations who have gone fully mechanical, they start their harvest in March. But we all end around the same time, the end of June. Okay, so next few weeks the harvest will end. So we will no longer harvesting our sugar cane up here. We'll also be producing hay for the deer and stuff like that. So if you do decide to come up here, this is the section where they will be building the eco-altering cottages. And I'll show you how to put your hand out and fly down the train as it trains by. I was hoping that I could have seen a monkey or two for those who've never seen monkeys on the island, but they're still... And the only 3 places in the world where you find that particular monkey here in Barbados, Angola, in Africa, and St. Kitts and Nevis as well. But they're on control on the island. Then they brought them over here. They probably brought them as pets out of the forest, but they never brought them with them. So they're on control of the island. So how you guys feel about squirrels and raccoons and bears is how we feel about the breed. I haven't gone to plum from my plum tree in 3 years now. This is going to be probably 4. I can see they're green now and they're just looking at me watching them like I'm not going to get another. Because when we're off at work, they come and rain it all. And then by the time we get home, all the colors are gone. And that's like now the newly cut stone will eventually age and flora and fauna will take them to emerge, similar to the sunken gully on the other side. Because the sunken gully walls look like a weir right here. And in this section, passengers, you can actually see how high up they had to cut down. At some points up to 35 feet to get the correct grading for the railway. And because this is coral stone, the stone is quite soft. So their blasting was done by dynamite. Other machinery they canyon somewhere or in some mountainous terrain. I love this side of the line. Still can't believe all of this work was done in less than a year as well. But to truly appreciate the cut, you gotta look back at it. And when you look back, passengers, you can really appreciate what they have done. Beautiful work. It makes me feel like around the corner, I'm gonna see some cowboys and Indians and wild horses and stuff like that. But it's a beautiful view, but you gotta look back at it, all right? Up to 35 feet they have to cut down. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a tectonic plate from the Atlantic was forged as the water stirs all around its roads. So as we exit the large passengers and take a look on your right, you'll see the pathways known as quad roads on the film of the large and at this point is the only point we have to go over Barbados already. So I'm going to try to see if I can show you where we are. But as we exit the barge, take a look and see from here. Now 3,000 meters of film raised above the bottom, so the train could traverse this bend joining the hills from south to north. The film was used for the cutting of the gorge. And what is truly amazing is that this entire railway was constructed without the need to bring in any other fill other than the ballast at the tracks. Now ballast refers to the layer of crushed stones or rocks that is laid on the track bed to provide stability, drainage, and support to the railway tracks. So we're now moving northwards towards the wide bend at the base of the hill, opening that panoramic view to the north of the island. Now we are struggling with some Sahara dust, that's why it's so hazy in the atmosphere. But I'll tell you this, I'm still excited to show you my hometown, the beautiful parish of St. Lucie, the only parish named after a woman here on the island. It was named after St. Lucie of Syracuse. Now, on a really clear day, we would have seen the Harrison Point lighthouse on the left in the island that led to the major decline of our Amerindian population. The English established a colony here in 1627, and they too brought in the indentured workers from other islands, from out of England, even out of Scotland. They came here to work the plantation fields when Barbados was producing cotton and tobacco. But as you can imagine, it wouldn't have been nice for them because they came from cold climates into a tropical one with no sun protection, no sun pollution back then. So you can only imagine what they were going through. Many of them did not survive either. And when Barbados was using the sugar cane, they realized they needed a stronger working force that was good back to this time the sun. And that is when they turned their attention to Africa. And the Africans were brought over here to work. Now, passengers, we have just done an extended 2 kilometers tour. So we will walk a lot of awesome time today on our extended line. Remember, you're still seeing it in its infancy, a lot more development to come, lots of sugar cane to be planted, hay to be produced, and they will soon start to build the eco-offering hutches up here as well. So lots more to come. So I want to thank you so much for your interest in seeing what we have done so far on our extended line. We will now be making our way back over now to the bridge. Okay, passengers, so the first stop will be those with the yellow color armband. We'll be taking you back over to the train station. And for those who have on burgundy and white stripe, you guys are going over to the Great House Tour next, where another tour guide will come up and greet you and take you on the rest of your also saw the red plant. That is what is called the annatto plant. It was out of South America and West Africa. It was used for cold dye and face painting. It's called the annatto. I think in Trinidad it's called it uku. And if you take a look on your right hand side, passengers, you can also see our
Whenever we get guests,
Train station.
wow.